What if I told you that one quiet company held more power than most countries and you didn't even know it? Not a government, not some secret society. I'm talking about a finance firm that quietly owns a piece of almost everything you touch, use, and consume. This isn't science fiction, and it's not a conspiracy theory. This is BlackRock, the $30 trillion machine that is silently reshaping how our entire modern world operates. Before we dive deep into this financial behemoth, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button if you're genuinely curious about how money, power, and technology truly control our lives. Because trust me, once you see what's really happening behind the curtain, you can't unsee it. BlackRock wasn't always this giant. It started back in 1988 as just another small-time investment shop in New York. Its founder, Larry Fink, wasn't your typical flashy Wall Street wolf. He was methodical, cautious, the kind of guy who would rather meticulously calculate risk than take a big, flashy one. But here's the twist. That exact mindset is what built an empire. In less than 4 decades, BlackRock grew from managing a few $1 million to over $13 trillion in assets. To put that in perspective, that is more than the GDP of every single country on Earth, except for the United States and China. That's not just growth. That's complete and utter domination. And they didn't achieve this by making headlines or being loud. They did it by building trust with governments, with massive corporations, and even with the same big banks that once laughed at their humble beginnings. They became the quiet, reliable giant in the room, the one everyone turned to when things got messy. They played the long game, focusing on stability and influence rather than quick profits and flashy headlines. And that strategy paid off on a scale that is almost impossible to comprehend. While everyone else was chasing short-term wins, BlackRock was building the foundation of a financial empire that would soon touch every corner of the global economy. Somewhere deep inside BlackRock's digital fortress runs a system called Aladdin. No, not the one from the Disney movie. This Aladdin doesn't grant wishes. It manages your money. And not just your money, but the world's money. It's a sophisticated AI platform that tracks billions of financial data points in real time, every stock, every bond, every market movement, and it quietly guides the decisions on over $21 trillion worth of assets across the globe. Think about that number for a second. It's more than the entire US economy. Major banks, pension funds, and even governments use Aladdin to manage their finances. And guess what? Most of the people whose retirement savings and investments are guided by this system have absolutely no idea that one private, proprietary AI is making those critical financial calls for them. Imagine if one single AI decided how the entire world invests, spends, and values money. It sounds insane, right? It's like something out of a futuristic thriller, but it's not the future. It's already happening right now. If that thought freaks you out even a little bit, drop a comment below. Let's see how many of us have actually noticed this silent shift in power. Now here's where it gets really tangible. BlackRock owns significant shares in Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Meta, basically all the tech giants that run our daily lives. They are a top shareholder in the vast majority of Fortune 500 companies. This isn't just passive ownership. When they cast their votes at shareholder meetings, corporate policies shift. When they decide to move money, entire markets shake. When their analysts even hint at a certain economic direction, governments listen very, very closely. They even advised the US Federal Reserve during the 2008 financial crisis and again in 2020, managing parts of the massive bailout funds. Let that sink in for a moment. A private firm was hired to handle public rescue money during a national emergency. And now, they're teaming up with tech giants like Microsoft and Nvidia, pouring tens of billions of dollars into AI infrastructure, the data centers, and digital power grids that will shape the next decade of global technology. The line that once separated finance and technology, it's completely gone. BlackRock is standing right at the intersection. Ever notice how few major media outlets ever seriously question BlackRock? It's probably not a coincidence. Through their massive ownership stakes and strategic partnerships, they have influence in the very media groups that shape our daily news cycle. They're not directly running the headlines or telling journalists what to write. It's much more subtle than that. They gently guide what's considered safe to talk about and what topics are better left quiet. That's the real magic trick of modern power, maintaining immense influence without any public visibility. While the public is busy arguing about politics, culture wars, and the latest celebrity drama, BlackRock keeps expanding its empire quietly in the background, buying, merging, and advising all, while skillfully staying out of the spotlight. If you're still watching this video, you are part of the small percentage of people who actually care about where the world's wealth and power are truly heading. And if you are, hey, take a second to like this video. It helps us reach more curious minds just like you, who want to look beyond the surface. Here's the uncomfortable truth. BlackRock isn't necessarily evil. They're not a villain in a comic book. They are just doing what our capitalist system rewards above all else: winning. But the problem is, when one single player wins this big, the game itself stops being fair for everyone else. They now hold significant power over essential sectors like energy, housing, healthcare, technology, and even defense industries. If they decide to pull their funding from a sector, entire markets could crash. If they choose to favor one company over another, that company is almost guaranteed to win. This isn't just a case of being too big to fail anymore. It's a case of being too big to even question. Their influence is so deeply embedded in the global financial system that challenging them becomes almost impossible. This concentration of power in a single, unelected entity raises profound ethical questions about fairness, competition, and the very nature of our economic system. Who holds them accountable when their decisions impact millions of lives? So what happens when you combine this massive financial power with cutting-edge AI and total control over vast amounts of data, all under one roof? That is not some distant future scenarios, that is the reality of 2025. BlackRock's next big move is clear: merging. It's predictive. AI like Aladdin with global infrastructure investments, everything from AI data centers to digital real estate. Every time you swipe your card, make a trade, or complete a transaction, you're feeding into a system that builds their power map of the world. The real question isn't how do we stop them? It's probably too late for that. The more important question is, how do we protect ourselves from becoming completely dependent on them? Because the moment you truly realize that one single company indirectly touches your savings, your mortgage, your technology, and even your country's economic policies, you start seeing the world in a completely different way. The web of influence is so vast, it's almost invisible. This is the reality of modern capitalism. It's not a grand conspiracy, but a quiet concentration of power so massive that it feels invisible to most people. So what can we do? The first step is to stay aware, stay educated. Never ever assume that someone else is watching the watchers. If you made it this far into the video, you're the kind of critical thinker the world desperately needs more of. So go ahead, subscribe to Beyond the Money, where we break down the hidden stories that are shaping your future before they end up shaping you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.